You want answers?
I think I'm entitled.
You want answers?
I want the truth!
You can't handle the truth.
Hey everybody, it's Brian Burns and welcome to this episode of the Brutal Truth About Sales and Selling podcast. Today we're going to be talking about the biggest, the most important decision that you make in your life, and that is your career. What industry do you go into? What company do you go into? What role do you take? And today we're going to focus on the comparison of business to consumer and business to business sales. Now, this is something that's come up quite a bit in the podcast. The podcast is almost exclusively focused on business to business, but there are a lot of B2C salespeople out there, people who want to get into business to business sales, and me and Chad are going to talk about the differences. We're going to talk about our stories. His about selling knives door to door. Mine about selling shoes at the mall when I was in high school. And exactly why and how we got into business to business sales. And how is it different? And what you're going to get out of it. And that if you do not make these decisions, because they get scary. Why? Because sometimes you take a cut and pay. Sometimes you're completely out of your comfort zone. But in the end, it always works out better to be into business to business sales. Very few people find that it is not as good. You know, certainly in the B2C space, there are particular areas that do well. You know, real estate does well, but that is, you know, it's trendy, it's highly competitive, it's hard to differentiate yourself. You have very little control over that process. We're going to go through our journey from, you know, little kids to the people we are today. We're going to have some funny stories. I think you're really going to like this. But before we get into it, I want to make sure that you're checking out some of the great content that DiscoverOrg is doing about helping you define your ideal customer, the people who are most likely to buy. So check out their ebook at discoverorg.com. Also, Prezzi's back. Prezzi missed the show for a few months, but they want back in. Their business product is amazing. You get to see exactly what people are looking at, who they forward it to, how far they're into, exactly what you're giving them. So make sure you're checking it out at Prezzi.com. Check out their business product, not only just their presentation capabilities. That's it. Let's get it in the interview. I'll sum it up at the end. Hey, Chad. Welcome again. Hey, I don't know about you, but I've got a lot of listeners who also sell into the B2C, business to consumer space, as well as those that sell into B2B. Do you have any experience with that?
I sold it for a little while. In fact, I guess you could say that my first foray into sales was B2C Cutco knives way back in college. Yeah, door to door. You know, I can still remember the guy standing there in front of the room going, I know $100 seems like a lot to you, but it does not to the people you are selling to. So, I mean, other than that, B2C always has a tendency throughout my career to show up as kind of a second tier. I mean, I've worked with a lot of B2C companies, but my involvement with them has always been more B2B. But there are definitely some similarities and, of course, a couple of differences as well.
Yeah, I've got a buddy who just moved or wants to move into real estate. And I'm asking myself or asking him, I go, what is your competitive advantage? You spent a whole career in B2B enterprise software sales, and now you want to be a realtor. Yeah, I understand that there's an upside, but do you know the network? Are you into real estate? Do you know a lot of people? Do you have a passion for it? Is there a dying demand for realtors in your particular area? What is the competitive difference other than you just want to do something different? And I think it's really hard to make that transition and try and build a whole new career in a different space.
Yeah. Yeah, everybody does realize, right, that they edit down 6 months to like 30 minutes, right?
And that's it. Yeah, I don't know about you, but I'm at the point in life where I see a lot of friends and friends' kids and relatives' kids all coming out of colleges, great schools, with these degrees that aren't really marketable, history or physics or you know, it's not that it's bad, it's just it's not a job. There's not people hiring. There's not recruiters out there looking for history majors. And yeah, sure, maybe you can become a history school teacher, but you're probably going to need a master's degree in education or something to really become employable. And it's leaving a big gap. And then they get into B2C sales, and I don't see the upside, the opportunity, or anything like I do in B2B.
where are they going next? Because that's not a terminal degree. That's a stair step into a lifetime of educational endeavors. I have no idea. I mean, history is one of those things. Like, there are degrees that I think are great to supplemental aspects of your education, right? I think, a history degree maybe it's not bad if you want it to be, your minor, but I'm still a big believer that majors need to be applicable in the real world. Yeah, they want you to come find them. They're not as interested in coming to you anymore. I mean, there's just so many things change so much. I mean, and we see it in sales. It's like I usually when I'm working with clients, I'll say, so all right, who in here was knee high to a grasshopper playing with your fire engines and looked up and said, I'm going to be a salesperson when I get old, right? Because it didn't happen that way. At least not for me. And I haven't ever had a client say, anybody in a class or a keynote or anything say, oh yeah, no, I came out of the womb knowing I wanted to sell B2B complex solutions. No, it just doesn't happen that way. It's really more about what drives you. And what is it that, you're interested in terms of something that's going to be, profitable. For me, it was I'd worked with sales reps for, the first 13, 14 years of my career. I'm like, these guys aren't working very hard and they're making a lot of money. I want to work that hard. I'll work harder and I'll make more money.
What I've always said is that people get into sales for one of two reasons. One, they're money motivated, that they want complete control over their income. And that's what sales brings. And the other is they can't really do anything else, or whatever else they can do doesn't pay very well. And that's it. No one really comes out of college with a sales degree. Nobody really, grows up and says, you know what, I'd like to become a salesperson. And it's such a noble profession because what we're doing is really generating revenue. We're building an economy. We are the creators of businesses. Products, certainly in the B2B space, do not sell themselves. People have to go out there and build a market and help people understand the value of it and what they're going to get from it.
Right. Without a doubt. And then I'm curious though, how did you end up in B2B? Was it just where you were, or, because there are some guys that specialize in B2C, although I think the differences are narrowing, let's say, these years. But I'm curious how you ended up B2B versus, doing something that was more B2C.
Yeah, I mean, my story was that I was a software developer and I worked really hard and, did the 80 hours a week. I was young. I liked doing it. I was reasonably good at it, but not fantastic. And I kind of looked around and I saw the other people that were fantastic. And I go, am I ever going to be that good? Am I ever going to be able to be that person who can build a product, design a product? And, I didn't think the answer was yes. But what did happen was I was being pulled out on sales calls with salespeople. And I would be introduced. I would be showing the product, answering questions, talking over exactly how the product works, how it's designed, how is it different than everything else, giving examples of how they could use it. And then, I would look around and I was wondering what the salesperson did. They basically introduced me and then would close up at the end of the meeting. And, and then I found out how much they made. And the difference was, it was like 3x. And I had no control over my income, no matter how hard I worked. And then I went to interview at this great company, and they go, well, you're probably not good enough to be one of our engineers, but you could be one of our pre-sales people. I said, oh, okay, I'll do that. Because the product was so good. I really liked it. I loved the company. It was super hot and interesting. So basically what I would do is I would, hang around the salespeople, give demos, do proof of concepts, and, try and upsell clients. And there was one case where we did this huge deal, the biggest deal of the year. I worked on it for a year and a half, did about 80 hours a week, it was my whole life. It was that, 6-7 days a week. And we finally closed the deal and I got nothing. Not one penny of bonus or anything. And then the salesperson made enough to buy, a beautiful house while I was living in my little studio apartment. And I just said, you know what? I think things could be a little bit more fair. I can learn that other stuff. And it was painful. It was a tough journey, but I knew that's really what I wanted to do.
Well, and it's always been interesting to me when you look at, if you think about what's the big difference between B2C and B2B, right? If you think about, I remember when I was selling those Cutco knives, it was literally you just picked a neighborhood. You went door to door. You knew where your available market was, and then it was a lot easier to get the volume. Right, the volume of conversations, the volume of at-bats. And in B2B, depending on what you're selling, I still today see a lot of companies and reps struggle with who exactly should I target? Who exactly is how do I do it in such a way that's going to capture their attention? Because everybody thinks they're different. Every business thinks they're different, whether they are or not. So how do I do that? So to me, it's the complexity of of the sale and the approach. With the knives, I was trying to solve one problem. You needed to cut some stuff. I had some knives that would do it. With B2B, even if you're selling a platform, SaaS solution, even if you're a tier one automotive supplier, right? Your solutions, your product portfolio has the ability to solve more than one problem. And so I think the complexity of ability to think, I call it three-dimensionally, but thinking three-dimensionally, thinking about what the scope of problems that your prospects are going to have and how you uniquely tie what you have to those different problems creates a level of variability that isn't in B2C. I mean, at least not that I ever experienced.
And I don't know about you, but once I got into sales, basically I pushed my way through. I basically sat down with my manager and I go, look, I like my job and everything, but I really want to get into sales. I think I can sell this product. And, I kind of gave him the Godfather close, I either do this or something. I'm probably going to leave. And, he begrudgingly gave me the opportunity. But the problem was I didn't have, and they didn't teach anything. I've been through Miller Hyman and solution selling, spin selling, Mike and Joe selling, but they were all about techniques and steps and process, but they didn't explain how companies buy, how they make decisions, how to control that, how to guide that, how to keep momentum, direction to it. And I was working with a lot of talented people who were probably what you would consider unconsciously competent. They had been doing it for 20 some years. They knew how to build rapport with executives. They understood, how to keep things going, but they couldn't really teach me, or they had no motivation either. They all had their own quotas. And my manager kind of left me alone. I think he just wanted to see if I would just change my mind and maybe come back and be, a pre-sales guy again and just give up. He kind of said, you can do demos and everything on your own. But what I ended up doing is I would pull the president of the company in on some of the higher level meetings. And he was so good. He was so fantastic in front of executives that he really helped me out and help me learn how to present to, the C-suite.
No, it sure doesn't. And it's, for me, it's interesting to watch, especially, you get a small company, let's say small, medium business, right? They made it past the 10 million mark. They made it past 50. They're coming up on 100, maybe it's 150 million. And now they got to scale. They got to scale their sales efforts. And the common thing I hear all the time is, well, I'm just going to hire A players and let them go do their thing. Okay, well, there's a reason that the average tenure of sales executives is 18 months, because you can't turn around and with any predictability say to the business, this is what my forecast is. This is the revenue we're going to bring in. This is what we're going to close. They kind of remove the ability to measure and scale it. And then you have the other side of the coin where you have sales execs that are like, no, everyone's going to do it exactly this way. And the sales process becomes like 200 steps from first contact. And you have to fill out all of these forms and you have to do all this overhead stuff. And that's when we start to see the stats of, I wish my guys were selling more. Well, that's because you're strangling them to death with process, right? There doesn't seem to be, whether, any of the teaching frameworks that are out there. And obviously I sell and teach the value selling framework because I believe it is simple and scalable and all those things. But if you look at the vast majority of them, it's too heavy. And it's either too heavy and it's reinforced too religiously, or it's looked at as a one-time thing. Like, hey, we'll bring you in, we'll do this training, and then, okay, everybody go do their own thing, and you're right back to where you started. And I think that creates a we did an episode on how you determine the best place for you to work, right? And I think that's one of the things that sales reps, that's one of the questions they don't know how to ask these days. Is like, if I'm in a B2B environment, exactly what kind of sales approach and process and belief system does this executive team or this CRO have, and will I fit into it? Because there's some people that can work inside of a scaling organization, and there are some that can't. And that self-awareness, that's what you bring to the table. Hopefully, your sales executives are bringing other tools, techniques, and scalable methodologies for you to be able to benefit from.
And that's what puts us in this situation today where people are talking about it like everything's like the simple sale, where it's the one call, it's a perfect pitch, it's the elevator pitch, and that's supposed to work. Make it so enticing that they're definitely going to make it, time for you. They're going to give you 30 minutes of their time. And then people, passed around the Challenger sale book. And I remember the first time I read it, the second time I read it, the third time I read it. Provoking people and bringing them things that they don't know already. That's all good. But you have to know that. How do you know what someone else knows and doesn't know? How are you going to know someone else's business better than they do? This is correlation versus causation. The only people who can do that are super senior reps who have had a lot of experience in that particular market. And you do not want to do that when that person doesn't need it. If they're interested, you explore their interests. You don't provoke them. That would be just crazy.
Well, and I know Challenger got, and I don't want to pick on Challenger. I mean, it got all of that press, and the book came out, and CEB did all the stuff around it. The thing for me with Challenger was, think about, of all the sales reps you've ever worked with, how many of them actually have the emotional intelligence as well as just general IQ to be able to challenge an executive without pissing them off? But I know maybe a handful, and that on my good days, maybe. If you want somebody pissed off, I'm usually your guy. But if you really want your sales reps to provide insight, they have to have a level of confidence, credibility, and an expanse of knowledge to share in a way that is provoking without pushing somebody over the edge. It's a tactic. It's not a methodology or a framework.
Yeah, it's very powerful in certain situations, and it is a good skill to have, but it's not a sales process. It's kind of something that you pull out when you're talking to somebody who's even-keeled and who is not seeing the need for something. That's where it would really be powerful, but you got to make sure it's going to be effective, so you better do your homework. So why did you give up selling knives door to door? Was that not what you felt as your future?
Because it sucked. To be blunt, it was hard. It was a grind, right? Now, all of sales is a grind, but I found B2C, my experience with B2C, and there were a couple others along the way. I found that to be more of a almost a physical grind. Like, you just had to put in the hours, and you had to knock on the doors, or you had to get the people in and talk to them. Whereas for me, B2B is much more cerebral. Like, you have to have a certain level of intelligence and ability to problem solve and think spatially. It's much more interesting to me than the volume play that has a tendency to be B2C.
And the thing about B2C is that sometimes you just don't have as much control over the demand. It's a lot of it's timing based. When you're selling shoes, you can only really sell shoes to people who are in the mall. You can go out and pull them into the store and everything. And when you're selling real estate, there's like only so many people looking for a house or looking to sell a house. And you have to be that person who's there at that time. And in your case, when you're selling knives door to door, well, there's only so many hours in the day. You can't be knocking on people's doors at 10 o'clock at night. So the window of opportunity is really not as easy. And those are not typically, 9 to 5 jobs. And I know some people have really been able to use like Facebook and everything to network and really build up a strong network in the B2C space. But I just don't think it has the potential and the future that I see in B2B and the excitement of actually doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Sure. Now the risk is greater too, right? I mean, typically, you may in B2B have a base salary that is maybe, on target comp for a B2C person, but it's very interesting how fast your lifestyle eats up that base salary. And so we always used to joke the best sales guys were the ones that were highly leveraged. So you wanted to make sure they had a boat and a Beamer and, all this other stuff. Because once you get to that certain level, then all of a sudden it's like, okay, I've seen sales reps who are like, I don't know if I'm going to make my mortgage this month. Well, you better get on the phone. You better start filling the pipeline, right? I think there's a risk-reward ratio that attracts a certain type of people to some B2B sales environments.
Well, that's it. You can build your lifestyle around your income, which can be a little bit dangerous. But just think of the quality of life in the B2B compared to B2C, where B2B, it's a 9 to 5 typically. Yeah, you got to travel and, there's an office to go to. It's a little bit confining at times, but there's benefits that, that base salary, there's some, health insurance, you've got 401k, there's all that kinds of things that go along with it that don't exist in the B2C space. And I think the B2C space is just going to be so disrupted because, the internet and technology, they're going after wherever the dollars are. In B2B, it's much more complex. When you're good, you really stand out as opposed to, how many people can sell cars and sell houses. It's really hard to stand out in the B2C space. When the B2B, the people, all you have to do is really know your clients and really get to help them and guide them through that buying process. Because the B2C is just getting scary.
Well, then I honestly have gotten to a point where I'm trying to remember the last time I was in the grocery store. Thank you, Instacart. I just, I got a recurring order. I put in this app and then somebody shows up at my house with the groceries and I don't have to go mess with it anymore. So that actually changes the B2C environment, is that those people that you counted on to come into the store to sell them shoes aren't even coming into the store anymore.
Well, that's it. I'm the same way. All my clothing that I buy, pretty much everything I buy, I just get on Amazon Prime and it's here the next day. It's like the idea of going into a store and trying to hunt down the right item, then stand in line to check out and deal with that. And it's happening in the automobile industry. The ability to be a car salesman is really diminishing super fast.
I don't know, man. I don't know if you guys have anything like this out by you. We've got here in Denver, we've got a new used car company that has opened up called Echo Park. And they have engineered the buying experience to the point where really the only reason you have to interact with a salesperson is so they can unlock a car. Because all of the cars have they've got a digital it's not an iPad, but it looks like a digital sign on them, so it tells you the price, and it's a non-negotiable price. They're like, this is just it. This is based on our database of what this thing's worth across the country. Here it is. So you just walk around and look at these digital signs, or they have this amazing lobby where you can pull up all of the stats on the cars on the lots or at their other locations, and really the salesperson's really just kind of holding hands, make sure you don't have a technical problem. It's almost like IT support while you're going through the cars. And you say, okay, I want this one. I'm trading this in. They tell you this is what it's worth. And it literally, I think when I bought my last truck there, I might have talked to the guy for 10 minutes, maybe. And the rest of it was just interacting with screens. So I think even automotive's is going to head that way, because it was so nice. It was so nice. Like it made an impression on me to the point where I'm like, if anybody needs to buy a used car, go to Echo Park, because the other process that you're so used to and that everybody jokes about, used car salesman, that's so painful. I don't want to do that.
That's it. And real estate's coming next because you get all this information online. You get Zillow and you watch those shows on Bravo and they all think they're great salesmen. And they're not that they're bad. It's just that sales model, so much information's available, pictures, they have an open house, people are in the market, fantastic, and they're able to sell it. And that's good, but pretty soon everything's going to be online and the margins are going to be shaved, and it's just not going to have the same allure that it has. But people are going to be undercutting it, and it's just not going to have the future that it should have.
Yeah, they're rare, and they're getting rarer because the environment's changing so fast. I think, I don't know, maybe it's because I'm getting older and I don't want to believe that you're going to age out of the profession. But if people that have been selling for 25 years, if they're not staying on top of kind of how, not just the technology, I mean, that changes all the time, or what the tools are. I mean, that's there's no silver bullet. All the things you had to do 20 years ago, you still got to do today. You just may have a different tool. Instead of the phone book, you've got the internet and LinkedIn and stuff like that. But the way that access to technology has changed not only your buyer's expectations, but the people coming up behind you that sell, and then their expectations. If you're not staying on top of that and keeping an eye on how the B2B environment is changing, you're going to wake up one day, and I think it was Blunt who said that, there'll be two types of salespeople, those that are told what to do by robots and those that tell robots what to do.
It is. Yeah, and today everybody's doing the same thing. They're hiring entry-level people, and they're throwing a bunch of technology at them, a bunch of terms, a bunch of scripts and cadences, and they're executing them. But the problem is, the market's saturated with that. The market's overwhelmed with that. And that you talk to them about, how to build relationships. And they go, we don't have time for relationships. And it's like, well, you're selling to people. People just don't go from sitting around doing their job, their life, to all of a sudden diving into what you want to talk to them about.
Well, and there's a lack of insight I see in a lot of sales reps that they'll look at their email in a silo, and they'll just think about their email, or they'll think about social, and that's just another silo, or they'll think about picking up the phone or building that relationship. They don't think about or have the ability, it seems to me, to visualize how all of those can play together. So some of those best practices that they're still teaching about email and stuff, all right, you got to have that stuff in your back pocket. But those types of emails aren't going to do it anymore. You've got to look across, how are you building a multifaceted, multi-channel relationship and manage that at scale? Like, I may start sharing something or having a conversation with somebody in a social, on LinkedIn or something that has nothing to do with an opportunity. But then they post something, or I've come across something on their company, something changed in their market space. And I shoot an email based off of that relationship we developed on social, referencing that social relationship and talking about how, let's jump on the phone, right? They don't seem to see how you string these multi-channels together. They have a tendency just to focus on one at a time. That's not going to get you anywhere anymore.
That's it. And I get stuck in people's cadences. And if they only did a little bit of research, if they only spent a little bit of time, looking at my LinkedIn profile, they would figure out that I'm not qualified, and they wouldn't waste their time. And it would be so much smarter. So what do you think? You think B2B is the place to be? Hey, I hope you like that story. And I just remember going through that process. I was a shoe salesman in high school, and I worked my way up to becoming a programmer, tester at this company, and then become a programmer, self-taught, had to figure out everything on my own. And then I helped salespeople given the demos of their products. And then I said, I could do this. I can try it. In the first year, it was hard. And I'm telling you, any kind of career change is hard. But you have to understand, where do you really want to be? Not get stuck in the position that you are. Have a vision for your life and take action on it. And, get out of the comfort zone, because it's well worth it. I'm telling you, if I've seen a lot of people who haven't done it, who are a little scared, who poo-pooed it, who said, it's not that much different, it's not that much better. Or they're just being a corporate drone. And I'm telling you, the key thing, if you take anything away from this podcast, is that you have to be a salespreneur. You have to be somebody who thinks like you work for you. Even though you're an employee, even though you're loyal and obedient and cooperative at the company, you work for you. You have your own systems, your own tools, your own capabilities. You invest in you, the most important asset in the world. When I hear people talking about investing in Bitcoin or stocks before they invest in themselves, or whining about, this amount of money per month, it's you. Let's think of the insanity that's going on out there. I see a lot of people putting $50,000, $75,000 a year into college, but then whining about $12 a month for one thing or another. That college degree, it may get you there. It may. And in certain vocations, it will. But the world has changed. The world is changing faster than we can recognize. And if you do not wake up to this, you're going to have to pay the price. And I'm telling you, every day I'm waking up to it. Every day I'm hitting myself on the head where I said, I don't think that works. Oh, I don't think that's going to happen. And then I break down a month later and I try it, and all of a sudden it works and I get the benefit. And then I just beat myself. I go, why did I not get that sooner? And the question I ask myself almost every day today is, what am I overlooking? What am I taking for granted? What am I thinking doesn't work that I should at least try? I should at least give it a chance, see if it's a match for me. And this brings me to, building out the courses. The Get the Meeting course is going incredibly well. I'm going to have some of the students on expressing their experience. People are just cooking with it. Here we are near the end of Q1. Okay. Guess what? The year is almost one quarter over with. How's the pipeline look? You've got to get those outbound cold meetings. And the course, Closing the Complex Sale, has already opened. It's only available in 12 equal payments. It's not a membership. It's 12 equal payments. I spread it out over a year to motivate me to make it the best course available, to answer every question, to help you through every tough deal, to win every deal that matters to you, and to produce more and more content that matters to you, what you're facing today, because it's changing so fast. I didn't want to just put it out there and take a big amount and then leave you on your own. It is an interactive course, meaning, yes, there's videos, because videos are a lot better than audio. They're a lot better than text, but they give you a picture, an image, and the sound to go with it, plus office hours every other Friday. It's all right there in the course, how to do it. We just get on Zoom. You send me your questions. We talk through issues. We talk through deals. The office hours this week, one person said, man, this session alone was worth the course, because what I'm doing is sharing what I'm working on, what I've been doing. And believe me, I am, I was going to take Sunday off, but here I am doing it on Sunday, just because I had to do my taxes yesterday. What an annoying pain in the butt on St. Patrick's Day. I had to do my taxes. But what we're going to do this year is just really open it up. So also a course is going to come out about how to go from somebody who's not in sales. Maybe you're in retail. Maybe you're doing whatever. You're out of college, you're out of high school, you're making minimum wage, you see no way. I'm going to show you how entry level, these roles that they call sales development reps, business development reps, the base salary is $40,000 to $50,000 a year. That's the base. Then you get commission on top of it, which would almost double that to $70,000, $80,000 a year. And I can show you how to, have the skills to get an interview, how to get the job, how to be successful. And I'm going to do the same thing. It's going to be a year long. The content itself doesn't take a year, but the transition takes a year. That going from, working as a barista to working in an office, setting up meetings for somebody is a big adjustment. And you need somebody to help you through it. Somebody to look at what you're you're doing and give you some ideas about what will work better. That's what it's going to be all about. It's going to be a year-long thing, and I'm going to do the same thing where it's going to be a monthly fee, a monthly cost, which was barely anything. And there's going to be office hours, going to answer all your questions, going to help you go through that transition. If you want to go from B2C selling, retail, whatever it is, working at the mall, working at Starbucks, babysitting, whatever it is you're doing, being an admin, being a gopher, working in shipping and receiving, to being a sales development rep, making big money, because that role is just the beginning. After 1 year in that role, you can become what they call an account exec, and you could be making multiple six figures if you want. It's not for everybody, and you can determine for yourself if it's the right thing for you. I'm going to put a video out on the YouTube channel to see if it is the right thing for you. And please pass it on to either friends, somebody who's stuck in their career, who doesn't see a way out. Because this work, I can't say it's not hard, but compared to other things, compared to dealing with, difficult consumers, it's really not that bad. You got to be able to send emails, make a couple phone calls, scour the internet, browse the internet, get good at social, be nice to people. Yeah, it takes a little bit of difficult. Who wants to be nice to people? I know. Really? Okay. That's it. I really had a great time on this episode. Please check out the show notes and check out our partners. Co-video, I'm doing videos at least once a week. I'm showing you exactly what a video email looks like. Check it out on my LinkedIn profile, Brian G. Burns. What you'll see, I've got 3 of them out already. They're getting like 10,000 views a piece. I asked them to make them a little bit humorous, a little tongue-in-cheek, so they're not professional in the sense, because nobody wants to watch a professional. It's a little bit of, humor and it's engagement. This one was about a dog walker. It kind of blew up. People really liked it. And you got to understand, imagine doing that same thing in text. It just wouldn't work. It just wouldn't resonate when you can actually see the person and see what they care about and see that they're a human being and what they'll do for you. Check it out on LinkedIn. Also, the YouTube thing is turning up. More and more YouTube stuff. We'll see you next week.
I want to know the truth, because deep down in places that you don't talk about are team and management meetings. You want me on that call. You need me on that call. We use words like fleet view, volume control, total cost of ownership. We use these words as a backbone of a life spent negotiating something. You use them as a punchline. I have neither the time nor inclination to explain myself to people who rise and sleep under the very blanket of revenue that I provide and then question the manner in which I provide it. I would rather you just said thank you and went on your way. Otherwise, may I suggest you pick up a phone and make some sales calls. Either way, I don't give a damn what you think you're entitled to.
Did you expense the lap dances?
I did the job I was hired.
Did you expense the lap dances?
You're goddamn right I did!